My name's Sam Medysky. I'm 22 years old from Toronto, Canada. I'm an international team rider with Best Kiteboarding, and I ride the GP Kite and the Pro Creator and Profanity boards from Best Kiteboarding. I ride the GP basically because I've always ridden C-Kites, and pretty familiar with the C-Kites. I find for my style of riding, the wake style or the freestyle riding, with the C-Kite you're able to actually slack the kite out, so that way during your rotation when you slack it out you are going to get a point in time where there's very little power in the kite, and that's when normally you're going to go for your handle pass in the trick. So the GP allows me to get that slack in the kite and kind of get those handle passes in at the right time. I think the difference is probably between the C-Kites and your bridle kites is these ones are going to feel a little more direct bar, I would say, whereas with a bridle kite it doesn't feel quite as direct on the bar. I think with the C-Kites versus the bow kites or the bridle kites, I think it's easier to learn on a bridle kite just because they're a little more forgiving, a little more stable in the sky, a little bit easier to relaunch, and also you have that large amount of D-power. A C-Kite, it's going to be a little bit trickier to relaunch. You're not going to have quite as much D-power, but if you are looking to get into freestyle where you're doing more on hook tricks, definitely a C-Kite would be the way to go, I would say. I find for me with the C-Kite, especially hitting rails and whatnot, when you unhook you have the exact same amount of power as when you're hooked in, versus when I've ridden bridle kites. When you unhook it feels like all of a sudden you get that extra boost of energy, so you kind of have to gauge how much you're going to have when you unhook on an SLE, versus with a C-Kite you know how much power you're going to have. So for hitting rails and whatnot it's pretty handy to have the C-Kites because you know how much power you have, and also like I mentioned earlier, the kite slacks out a lot more for you, so for those handle passes and unhook tricks it's a little more forgiving.